Facts. Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts.
But yeah, my section is usually called facts. It's not facts. Honestly, most of the time I feel like it's not actually facts. Just because, like, who am I? But but also, just a lot of these words are from my brain.
You do research.
I do research, yes. But for this one specifically, like, I read some stuff, but like this is mostly just my thoughts on
right.
the situation. So extra not facts time.
But as someone who has done extensive research on several episodes about the horrors of the internet, I think we can trust your brain.
Fair. But I'm not saying don't like end here. Don't take everything I say as face value. Go learn
True.
stuff yourself.
You're right.
But that's like our thesis too at the same time. But ultimately, the internet can feel scary for a lot of reasons that are super valid. So it's like when people are like, "Ooh, the internet," it's like, no, but actually,
really,
the internet. And it's not usually like the fear of like actual ghosts. It's the actual reality of how much the internet is this kind of like provides this all-encompassing access to the human experience. And the internet holds and sees and shines a magnifying glass to a lot of people who otherwise might have just operated under the radar, which can be good and bad. It gives access, especially to information that simultaneously operate. It's like a lot of simultaneous that happens with the internet, but it's overwhelming, amazing.
Everything is now
dangerous. It's constant. It's so much. And it has vastly altered the human experience in so many ways, both from how we socialize, to how we grieve, to how we process information, to how we critically think, our attention spans, etc. It really has changed a lot about what human experience is, and how we interact with each other, both to our detriment and to our benefit. There's also lots of ambiguity, as we were saying, as the lack of understanding of how invasive the internet can be. People really don't realize how plugged in, like at how readily accessible our entire identities are at all times. And when utilized by certain hands, people can access stuff that you maybe don't even want them to, that you never even thought about. Those MySpace quizzes, that you posted in your teen years. They're probably still there. Like, someone could go look at those if they wanted. You don't remember what you said, you know? So yeah, when utilized by certain hands, this access can be really scary. Whether it's like someone taking screenshots of conversations you've had, images, tweets, or other things that like you didn't know that they were taking screenshots of. Our entire selves are constantly at the disposal of others. That we could be ruined at any point by others, or like positive things. There's positive parts too. But identity theft is a very real and ever-present threat that the internet increases the chances of. With identity theft extending from like literal theft of personal information, finances, etc., to someone masquerading as someone they are not, hacking profiles to use one person's influence to reach more people / victims. I saw this with my friend whose Instagram got hacked by someone who was like, buy NFTs, and then they opened the message, and then they had 600 followers all gone because their internet thing was hacked, and they can't get it back
all the time.
Yeah, and then now they can't get it back. So their entire work to build up that social platform gone. So that's something that can actively happen, and then they now have access to your entire friend group that trusts you. Like, it's not just a stranger who's impersonating you. So there's lots of stuff. The vulnerability specifically is something that can haunt people, much like a ghost would. The result is real and lasting consequences. And as we witnessed in the first Unfriended film, we are given protagonists with this amazing tool of social media, YouTube, Skype, and other methods of constant communication and access to each other be taken advantage of because they're children. These tools are given to humans who are too young to really understand the permanence of their words, actions on a digital platform, which is like actual factuals. In that 16-year-olds are just starting to understand what next week is. Like they don't have any concept of tomorrow. That was something that when I taught middle school kids, I kept getting like frustrated because I was like, "You're going to be there next week, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." Next week, what is that? And then I'd be like, "Oh, you're so right. Your brain literally does not process time in that way. So me asking you to do something next week is just stupid. Like, why would I even think your brains aren't there yet, and that's fine. But like, you got to meet people where they are. But these very young people are given very real actionable consequences when they
Mhm.
make decisions to post things online without really realizing the implications of that.
Yeah, it's like those
And
girls who would get, like, charged for child pornography for having nudes on the internet because
mhm.
they're underage.
Yeah, like, they don't know.
Mhm.
Like, the distribution of those pictures, 100% a problem. Those people should be arrested, like, the
Mhm.
ones who are, like, exploiting the entire child who's made this
Yeah.
mistake, but not the child.
Yep.
Here we are. What they are forced to confront in the movie is that once something's posted to the internet, it becomes alive in a way that is hard to comprehend.
Mhm.
It becomes the ghost. It takes on a life of its own with this instantaneous influence of others. Honestly, like, you can post like, a photo, and then someone screenshots that, and then now that photo you erase it because you regret your decision, and now that
Mhm.
photo is back online because someone saved it. It was like, "I'm gonna get them." You know what
Mhm.
I mean? That's like all the celebrities, like, comment on people's Instagram posts and then
Mhm.
delete it like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that." And
Yeah.
then, like, an
And then it's in a
article comes
BuzzFeed
out.
article.
Yeah, and it's like, "This person said this about this person." There's clearly drama and unhappy feelings there, and it's like, yeah, but, like, why do we have to, like, put that on blast? They clearly regretted their choice and erased the message.
Yeah, I
They have a
literally
valid
follow
review.
one
Good.
Twitter account that is literally just they just repost screenshots of another person's Twitter account
Yeah.
in case that person ever decides to delete it.
It's so wild. But it's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing.
Mhm.
Like, once you put it out there, it really takes on a life of its own, and that life can haunt you for years to come. Essentially, anything you post on there can be reposted, even if without your consent. So things deleted from a computer can be reaccessed if someone with hacking capabilities at their disposal decided to unearth it, or if you're just literally not good about cleaning
Mhm.
the trash bin out.
Mhm. Or if your
Uh,
password is password.
yeah. Make passwords with multiple caps, numbers, different cases, etc.
Mhm.
Make sure people can get in there.
Random.
But the internet makes it so that a bad decision can last forever and live on without a person's consent. And it's a literal representation of how the actions and words have lasting consequences. And we get to see that unfold every time we log in. Where those
Mm.
consequences used to be siloed into tight knit communities, they are now out there for any and everyone to see. There is an obvious danger that exists with that, but it's especially dangerous for a very young and not fully developed brain, having humans who have the ability to voice things that they may regret later in a very public and unforgiving way. And we see the consequences of this play out live in the film that we watched, in that they made very bad choices and said rude things behind the wall of a keyboard, thinking like it
Mhm.
was not that big of a deal. And there were real consequences to that that were lasting, but that now they're like literally being haunted by that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
the
it was
truth
just a
will,
joke.
yeah, will eventually come out, at the end of the day, and, like, with evidence,
Mhm.
because of technology. Technology just provides evidence,
Mhm.
uh, for things that you wish didn't exist. Before, you could just go about your life. That's why so many famous people
Mhm.
are now getting caught for things that they, like, totally had no accountability before.
Yep.
But I'll get into that. The undying presence of the internet also extends to the trauma associated with events like the loss of a friend, which is something else that we see in the film. In the film's instance, they were kind of awful to this person. Uh,
Mhm.
it doesn't remove the fact that the loss was probably painful for them and that they didn't realize the actual consequences of their actions.
Yeah.
But the internet saves things that you might not want to see, specifically if you're dealing with the loss of a loved one. I know specifically Facebook is very notorious for this, but
Mhm. Memory.
yeah, the memories. But like, this applies to trauma or things you might want to forget. So if you lost a loved one, the painful memories associated with that person are significantly harder to avoid than they once were because of the digital footprint that has been left behind. Where before you could separate yourself from those memories, put them in a photo album and walk away, Facebook memories will throw it in your face without any warning. You don't have any way
Mhm.
to filter that out or buffer. I think they've now
Just
added,
trigger you again.
yeah, a way to like silo it out, but is exactly like it kind of flies at you in a way that can be very triggering, especially if you are not like willfully seeking out that information.
Mhm.
Um, and as it's not a ghost in the sense that like there's an alive thing haunting you, but it is like the ghost of, or the haunting experience of having to just relive this over and over again because it is still present. And this applies to other forms of loss, be it an ended romantic relationship, marriage, friendship, the loss of a pet, etc. There are many instances where the option to see that information and travel back to those moments can be very special, but also instances where it's damaging. I know that, like, through my own experience, there's been moments where, like, I'm really, really happy to see, like, photos from before of, like, people
Mhm.
I've lost, but also instances where I was like, I was not in the mood to have that today.
Yeah.
Uh, I was going about my life and for, like, 5 minutes forgot that that happened, and now there it is again. So it really
Yeah.
depends on kind of what your headspace is and, like, how you grieve, and that grieving is such a unique experience to the individual.
Yeah. And they don't even have to be dead. Sometimes I just see like a post or a memories thing of just someone that traumatizes me who is
Oh,
alive. And it's like,
100%,
oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, people you don't wanna see, just like, as I said, like, it doesn't have to just be loss, like someone has died.
Mhm.
It could be literally any kind of relationship, uh, even negative, as you said, Gabe. But essentially, the internet keeps those forgotten things ever present in your life. And the way that that can be positive, we talked about before, is like kind of like grief ghosts and the profiles of loved ones that can act as a space to honor people,
Mhm.
as well as like an outlet to get unspoken feelings across in a way that can provide closure or create a feeling that that person is still with you.
Mhm.
But in addition to loss, the internet has other ways to haunt us. Uh, we can be haunted, as I said, by the past, our choices, our words, our fashion decisions for many years to come. And oftentimes, the internet is just a constant reminder of things you might not want to be reminded of without willfully seeking out. And the as I was saying before, the permanence of the internet is also very apparent when looking at all the mass volume of celebrities that have been canceled in recent years because they're haunted by their past actions and statements now resurfacing to be like, hey, remember when you were awful? Remember what you just changed your whole thing, but you've actually been awful this whole time. Look at this tweet you said in 2006.
Yeah, and you said some bad things. Like
Yeah.
are like what?
Yeah. Like the very many people are
Did you say that?
finally seeing the thing that's been haunting them forever, which is accountability.
Yeah.
And that's largely why, like, so many people have gotten away with stuff. The internet provides a very nice window into consequences.
Mhm.
And there's ways in which that's very positive, in that the crappy people who are rich and awful, being rich and awful, sometimes have consequences socially now
Mhm.
because their stuff is all out there. There's also a level of separation from accountability that can simultaneously exist within the internet, and people who vocalize opinions or hot takes that they might not have shared with someone to their face, like keyboard warriors, I guess, or
Mhm.
what do they call them? Trolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Unfriended does a fantastic job of showcasing this in the lack of direct or honest communication that exists with this friend group, as well as like their access to immediate negative feedback
Oh, yeah.
when the consequences come. It kind of like floods in without end.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true. That's, like, really upsetting.
yeah, like, and I'll keep getting to that, but it's like like someone can post something and you're not them, and then immediately everyone just stops asking questions like, "Yeah, that person sucks. Hate them. Go
Mhm.
die." All this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It's like that Black
immediately.
Mirror episode you were saying
Yeah. Yeah.
with the
Or like
bees.
that one where you like rate people, like
Mhm. Oh,
you
yeah,
get the
yeah.
coffee and you're like, "You get an upvote."
Yeah.
You looked at me weird, you get a downvote, and then,
Like,
like, everyone has a downvote.
to
It's like,
your, like,
"Rude."
whole
That's such a stressful one.
existence. Yep.
But yeah, with access to all this information comes an unorganized funneling of what is true and false as well. That's where media literacy is super important.
Mhm.
The danger with that is that the claim made on social media can be where people end their research on a subject. A
Yeah.
person can say blatantly untrue things about you, and thousands will believe it outright without second thought.
Yeah,
They won't
we
even
saw
Google
the
it.
election of Donald Trump. We saw that.
Yeah. And the same applies to the intake of news, events, and politics. While this isn't internet specific, there do exist like implied news channels that define themselves actually as entertainment platforms, but then position themselves as a place of factual information for their viewers. Um, that just like share blatant lies to be taken by their viewers at face value, who are like, that's facts. I'm not going to ask another question about that.
Alternative
And
facts.
yeah, and they might have like a thing at the end of their episode, like none of the information shared in here is actually factually accurate in like tiny, tiny text.
Yeah. Or just all the boomers who get got by Onion articles like all the time.
Yeah.
Like on the reg. It's so fun.
They're like, yeah, that sounds real. But yeah, essentially people on said channels or in the internet making unsubstantiated claims or opinions as if they are factual sources, just as it was stated that not everything you find in a book is true. The same can be applied to the internet, and that literally anyone can post on the internet, make a website, or spread false information if they wish to do so. And I'll get into the lastly, this whole Twitter situation. The introduction of the paid verified checkmark is especially concerning. I am so worried about how this is going to go when it comes to just regular people. I know, but like how it's going to unfold in like the coming weeks. Like this is like a week ago that this took place, right?
It's been this week. It launched. The blue checkmark to buy it for $8 started on November 1st, and it is now no longer available. People can no longer buy a verified checkmark because Elon Musk got butthurt about it.
Well, then it's not even relevant. Then I didn't hear that. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's wild. It's literally been a week.
Yeah.
Like, and he's burnt this company to the ground. It's hilarious.
Exactly. The danger with it is that someone could be like, I am this, and then say wild stuff. And then, as you said, they bankrupt the Instagram company, which is a little win. But in that, like, they were charging too much for insulin and it should be readily accessible to people. But there's so much to be concerned about with the whole false verification. So I'm glad they took it down.
Yeah.
But what a scary time that could have been, even more so for just like regular folks.
Like when impersonating you. Yeah. I would say my favorite impersonation, because people were impersonating Elon Musk all over, but my favorite is, so because of all the impersonations, it was like you had to put parody in the bio if you were a parody or you'd get banned. And then because they were doing that, someone was a fake Tesla account, and so Elon was mad, and he was like, okay, well, now you have to put parody in your name as well as the profile. But then he locked out everyone's account so no one can change their names on any of the verified accounts. And so Doja Cat was stuck as Christmas. And so she tweeted, I don't want to be Christmas forever at Elon Musk. Please help. I've made a mistake. And then he's like, all right, you should be able to change your name now. And she tweets, thank you. But she's changed her name to Elon Musk. And she changed her picture to Elon Musk, but it says like Doja Cat. So good. It's so good. I living for
that. That's hilarious. I love Doja.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
He's amazing. So, but now it's over. Like, it's the last straw. Everyone trolled him so hard into the ground. What a backfire. So you don't have to worry about it. It was very funny when it happened, though.
Yeah, but I think like the mass destruction of Twitter in the span of a week is just really wild. Because one, like there are actual like real consequences for that, aside from like shitty businesses getting their just desserts. Like there's like small businesses, artists, stuff like that who like can't post now because they're like getting filtered out to the all versus the like it hurts small content creators or people who like made their entire identity as social media presences, influencers, etc. Like as we talked, and Cam, like there's so much to say also about like people who build their livelihoods around that, and like if someone were to impersonate them and people take that as face value, like the damage that does too. Like you can get sued for defamation at that point, I think. But you got to have sue money. Not everyone has sue money.
No, it's like that time when my Instagram was hacked and they changed the profile to a butt. And I was like, it's not my butt. It's my butt. Everyone thinks that I put my butt on the internet now. And I didn't. But I was able to get it back. But I've seen a lot of people get kicked out of Instagram now for getting hacked.
Yeah, it's happened like a decent amount. I'll tell you, a lot of people I know too, like whose whole accounts got hacked and now like they have to totally start over.
So let us be the warning that the film should have been, that you should in fact do two-factor authentication any place you can, and make sure you have a password catcher. Like you always, like Don't have it autofill in your browser. Have something you have to sign in. I use Dash Pass or something. Dashlane. It's called Dashlane, which I use to store all my passwords. But I have to log in. Like I have to have a main password to log into that to get access to my other passwords. And none of my passwords are the same.
Redo my whole life because I'm a mess. I'm a
Do
mess
it.
with that game. And I hate two-factor authorization because like, it just takes longer.
It takes time. It certainly does.
It takes longer, and I'm such a brat. But you're right. I so should. I really need to because we have a presence. I need
copy a
people to
link.
feel
It's
on
going
this
to come
one.
up as an option for folks to use Dashlane. I get points or something if you use it. So everyone just
we aren't
do
paid
it.
by them to sponsor.
We aren't. We are not. But I'm just saying one of many that you could do. Okay.
Yeah.
Is you check it out. You get a password protector. Make sure your passwords are not easy to know. Like it shouldn't be your pet's name or something that everyone knows.
Mine are hard to know. It's just they're all similar.
A variation of capital, uncapital,
Yeah.
not just the first letter, some characters in there, some numbers, make it weird. And every one of your passwords should be different.
How people will remember them then?
I have a system. So
my brain does not function at that decibel. Yeah. It's real. I'm gonna need to figure it out. But everyone else too. And also like put a sticky note over your recordy thing on your phone.
Yeah.
In
your computer. Mm-hmm.
I know we did the Snowden thing where we learned about that, but I was like, it was news to me that I forgot that the light didn't need to turn on and that people could be looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have mine up because I'm in Zoom all day.
Yeah, and you don't want to have to. But there's some that have now, and there's tape. There's like a little you can slide.
Slide it over and slide. Yeah.
I'll recommend that. But cool. So here's in your very layman's terms for internet safety. The other thing is don't interact on the internet as if it's not permanent and forever. Don't say things that you're gonna regret later. Don't wear that you're gonna regret later. No, I'm kidding.
There's just so many teenagers all have phones, so they're all no semblance of personal foreverness. They all have social media accounts, and it's they're gonna realize when they're 27 all the time someone screenshotted they wish they didn't screenshot, and it's used against them because people keep receipts. It's a real thing.
Have private accounts. Don't be letting people see your stuff.
I know, but they don't know.
Says us with a TikTok. We have TikTok, and China knows everything about us.
Yeah, but I don't think
we're all over information. That's not even what it is, though. It's it sells your information.
That's fair. It's bad. You're totally right.
It's not if you're doing good or bad. That's a whole chat right there. It's the fact that it's your information.
And it's also very Gen Z to be I don't care. I'm not going to be alive then.
Yeah. We just watched whole movies about why you should care.
7 years the planet dies. What do you mean? My passwords can be whatever.
In 7 years, you could have the worst 7 years left.
Yeah, you're right. It's real though. It's real. You really got to be on top of your internet security, and there's so many ways. That wasn't even all the ways the internet can haunt you. It's just it really just takes a life of its own. The second it leaves your space.
Yeah. As soon as you hit post, it's done.
Yeah.
So please be careful, and if you steal a computer that's owned by a dark web user, don't first of all.
Oh my god, I didn't even get to talk about that stuff. Is a little bit real, the swatting thing. Real,
yeah.
People call SWAT on it. That's a real thing happens. There's other little things that are in the film that were accurate.
Yeah,
and that there are people who get paid. Yeah, doxing, photoshopping people into things. Facial recognition stuff is very real. That you can buy clothing or put dots on your face that make it so you can't be recognized and stuff. It's all there's lots of pieces of maybe they didn't execute it.
Yeah, there are plot holes,
but leads you to the source.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's a far-fetched version of very real things. The dark web is real. People do be murdering people on the internet. I have as a former a recovering true crime fanatic. I know of real stories of people posting stuff on the internet of them doing real murder. That's real, and snuff films are real. and paying people to do crazy things like that on the internet is real. Doxing is real. Getting your
Yeah.
information is real. Like all that stuff is real.
Yeah. Like
So
human trafficking, where do they sell the things? Sell the people on the dark web. So like all of this is valid and accurate stuff.
yeah, this isn't conspiracy theory time. This is for
Yeah.
real time. We're telling you.
Like maybe it's implemented slightly differently than our understanding of it, but it does exist.
Yeah. Yes.
People have experienced
They
it.
put entertainment versions of it on there, but it is real.
Yeah.
So don't go to the dark web. I couldn't ever, I wouldn't know how to get there in the first place, but I'd be
don't know,
really
yeah,
scared.
no idea.
I'm afraid of certain Reddit posts. Okay, like I just can't. Like I won't even go on 4chan. That sounds awful. So no
No.
thanks.
All I do is play video games. I don't want to be talking to people like that.
hmm
I don't-
It's like people get got on that too. It's like they do the "Am I the a-hole" posts, and then the
Oh
person
my
will
god! And
comment.
people find them. Oh my god, Gabe! I remember the other thing I wanted to say.
What? What is it?
Okay, so there's like this whole thing that I read the other day about this guy. He made a documentary. It was on YouTube, where he matched people's influencers, Instagram influencers. This is so random. I'm sorry. I should have remembered it earlier. I didn't write it
Okay.
down. Instagram influencers. He would find who they were based on like public camera surveillance.
Uh-huh.
You'd see like where they were taking a picture and then find the pictures.
Yeah.
So it was like this really scary docu-series or like just like YouTube video, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like of him showing how he identified random people and found their social media, their names, all this other stuff. So like in the movie where he was like, you see the picture, you find the college, you find the address
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's all like super legit. And that like this like guy, random dude, was just
Yeah.
like showing how through hacking into or like viewing public access cameras, like street cameras
Yeah.
that anyone could look at.
Google
Yeah,
Maps.
exactly. And then being able to like find people who are taking pictures and then finding the pictures attached to the random people in the street that he sees
Mhm.
posting the pictures. So then finding their identity just through seeing them on this camera. And that's not even
Yeah.
like facial recognition software. That's just some guy.
Yeah. And now we gotta be real. So where you were at this time of the day, everyone knows.
Wow. I'll see if I can find the video and then link it into the blog. But I remember watching it the other day and it like blew my mind. It like freaked me out because I was like, never again am I taking a picture in a public place. This guy gonna find me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he finds me, I guess, because I don't know him or what he's
You
gonna do.
put
But
people
that's
have location
creepy.
tags on
You
Instagram.
shouldn't do location tags. That's how people get murdered.
Yeah.
Like
It's
literal, it happens all the time.
yes. We sound conspiracy theory, but this is real.
Yeah.
This is the real
Don't
horrors.
put your location on stuff because one, you can either be stalked, like that's also a thing that happens through Snapchat. Your location is shared on there. Like, don't turn that off because
Mhm.
people can come find you. Like, you can share your Snap information. You don't know them like that. Or
Yeah.
you just post on Facebook a bunch and you tag your location. Someone can literally map out your day
Mhm.
and stalk you through that. And in an anime I watched recently, the Twitter impersonation thing came into play. In that, I'm just a random assortment of fun facts right now, and I'm sorry. But it was like a theme in the show where this guy was getting stalked by this woman and she made fake Twitters for him. And then all his friends got mad at him and like hated him because
Mhm.
this lady like impersonated him on the internet. And he's like a whole teenager. And then he lost all his friends and he had to move entire cities to get away from this woman. And then she found him by looking on Instagram and he was in the background of someone else's picture. And then so she found him so she could go get him again.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's how they
That's what real
found
humans do.
people found out some news about people on Love is Blind because of Instagram because they're in the background of something. People were like, "What?" Yeah, it's super real. It's super, my mom always posts where she is, and I'm like, "Why do you stop doing that?" Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I know your town is like this big, like everyone already knows, but like, don't like, yeah, on the
Don't put your location on stuff because there are crazy people, especially people aren't safe out there. You need to really just watch where you're putting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's permanent. It's forever.
Yep. Well, don't get married.
Delete your kids.
Your kids will post stuff on the internet, and then ghosts will kill them.
Or just the consequences of their real actions.
Yeah. Or the dark web? Question mark.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Bye.
Bye.